Hi everyone. Today we have very interesting film, The Last Will. It comes from Latvia, and here at PÖFF it's an international premiere. And I'm happy to introduce two persons. Director is filming somewhere. He's not with us, but we have extraordinary guests, producer Dita and cinematographer Toms. So please, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You have very unusual plot, I have to say. I try to remember if I saw something like that. Never, to be honest. It's very interesting story. Can you just, for our audience who does not yet know and didn't see the film, what is, just don't reveal the ending, but what's happening in your film? Who can tell?
Do you want to go?
Well, the film is about Latvian poet and crime fiction writer Anatols Imermanis, who was kind of dandy and bohemian in Soviet Latvia, and he really liked cigars, alcohol, poetry, erotics, and extravagant actions. And then, when he had his last will was to be scattered. His ashes should be scattered across Europe, across red light districts, to be closer to the girls he loved so much. In short, and that sounds good, like a good synopsis.
Yeah, and the detective part is that after he passed away in 1998, he left this last will of his, which was never fulfilled because of lack of resources at the time. And we found this story. We thought it was a legend, and then we figured it would be interesting to look into it, and it turned out to be quite an adventure. And for the rest, you have to see the film.
Well, I think it's still good to add that you're probably half of the film or the third of part of the film are looking for this urn because it disappeared. Nobody knew where is it or does it exist even.
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite a challenge to start the film not knowing where you will end, but in a way you found it, so and then something start to happen. So those who want to know how what's happened at the end have to come and watch the film. There will be more screenings, right, with this film. Okay, so what were for you the most challenging working on this project? I don't know, usually financing or finding the right story or disappearing something that you hoped will happen but didn't happen yet. What was it?
I think that, like, from my perspective, I think it was definitely the unknown, because there were a lot of things we didn't know when we started the research. There were a lot of things we didn't know about how it's gonna unfold when we started shooting. So basically, it took a lot of flexibility from all of us, from directing and creating the screenplay and managing every aspect of the practicalities and also finances. It was that the film was shaped during the process in a lot of ways, because each of the interviews shaped it in a way that we never foreseen before we started. So it took a lot of patience and just going with the flow at some point. But it was definitely an interesting experience and like a quite adventurous way of working that you don't necessarily get to have with each project you work on.
I have to add also that in the documentary, finding a humor is always very valuable, and it's not easy to make like a funny documentaries. Although your film is in a way also, well, the main character passed already. It looks like not funny story, but you still it's a lot of humor in your approach, let's say. So I think it's depend on the directors also. Can you please a little bit as he's not with us, just can you a little bit introduce him also? What he has done before and what his method is?
Do you want to tell a bit more about the past projects, because you've worked
I've
closely
worked with
Jānis?
we have been working with Jānis for actually 10 years. It could be an anniversary for us. We started with some music videos and and we had our first feature film also connected to France. We shot in Marseille, and somehow, that kind of says a lot about Jānis. He's a Francophile, and he lot of I don't know, not inspiration, but some kind of flow how he perceives cinema there's a great deal with France. It's like French New Wave, but of course later he kind of deepens his knowledge about other periods and so on. So and I don't know.
I will add. I will ask then in this also way that as you're a cinematographer and you worked already with him, it's interesting to know how you collaborate, because documentaries that you have quite often just reflect what's happening. You never know ahead what may happen. So what are your synergy? How you communicate on the set or outside the set, and can you say about that?
We communicate through other films very often. I think that's very often a starting point where I watch a film, I send it to Jānis, or he watches the film and he sends it to me, and then that is kind of not so much as a reference, but just a starting point for our conversation. And then on set, like when we're filming, it's not about these artistic. It's mostly about very practical and pragmatic decisions. But before we start shooting, we have a glass of wine. We discuss. Wine opens up also opens conversations, and somehow we start through other images. We start with images and with this film particularly, Jānis comes more from fiction world, and one of the films we also kind of kept in the back of our minds was this French actor, director Mathieu Amalric. He has a film Barbara about a singer, which is a film with actors, but it's also biographical, but with kind of fiction and reality merge and blur together. So that's one of the reference points, at least for this film, visually.
I think that also for this particular project we did some collective movie watching and also poetry reading, because we sat down and Anatols Imermanis also has written a few screenplays for some films back in the day. That's not something that he would probably be proud of for his artistic purposes, but it was something that was bringing in some cash, which was needed at the time. But we still figured that we have to have a look at those films, so we watched those and we read some of his poetry books together to kind of get into the vibe collectively and getting to know the poet through his art.
As I know, he wasn't famous. Now nobody practically knows him in Latvia. Not speaking even about Estonia. But what do you think with this film? Will you open the interest towards him, or is it like valuable to read and discover something new?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think there was a time where he was known for his work, mostly for the fiction detectives that he wrote, and not so much with his poetry, which is a pity, because it's there's something to it. It's very romantic. You wouldn't expect it to be so romantic, knowing the fiction that he has written. But it's true that today there's a lot of people in Latvia who don't know about him. I think that there are people from older generations who have read these fiction stories from back in the Soviet time, but he's not a well-known poet. And I'm not sure if it's gonna, if the movie's gonna serve as a trigger for people to get into his poetry. We would wish that people who get to see the movie get the interest and also read some of his poetry. We'll see, but I think it's important to shine some light on this interesting character for not only for his colorful character, let's say, but also for his poetry.
I think that the film, maybe it wouldn't serve to get to know him better, but the film might open some questions about other topics and subjects like sexuality, how it was in Soviet Union, how this generation grew up and how they influenced the next generations, and how this generation sees sexuality from that time. And yeah,
actually, I think I had a genius idea how you can merchandise your film. You know, you have to publish very decent small book of his poetry and distribute it when you're showing the film and when you have the theater distribution or whatever where you will show your film, you know, and then it will go into the people.
That's a great idea.
I think it will work
We
very
should
well.
have
I would like myself to have it, actually.
and translated in Estonian.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this sadly, this idea comes. We should have met you a few months ago.
I have to tell to Guntis, who is also a producer.
Yeah.
So.
Or maybe we have to do poetry readings instead of Q&As with the filmmakers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you have to. It will help,
Yeah.
I think, film to sort of raise more awareness and interest. So thank you very much. I think it's very intriguing for our viewers, and please come to watch this film, The Last Will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.